Right now, in your refrigerator, there may be a silent threat. A common food, something you've probably eaten this week, maybe even today. It looks harmless. It's cheap. It's convenient. But hidden beneath its taste and packaging is something far more sinister. This food has been linked to cancer. And here's the shocking part. It's not some rare exotic ingredient. It's not a strange chemical you've never heard of. It's right there, in the heart of your fridge, in millions of homes across the world. So what is it? Why do experts warn about it? And most importantly, why is nobody stopping it from ending up in your shopping cart week after week? Today, we expose the truth. Welcome to Cancer Clarity Now. Danger in your fridge. This common food may trigger cancer. The science of food and cancer. To understand why certain foods can raise cancer risk, we first need to understand how cancer works. Cancer isn't just one disease. It's more than 100 different conditions, all tied together by one terrifying process: uncontrolled cell growth. Inside your body, billions of cells divide every single day. They grow, they multiply, and when they get old or damaged, they die and make way for new cells. It's a perfect system, until something goes wrong. Sometimes, mutations occur in our DNA. Little typos in the genetic code. Usually, your body spots and repairs them, but every once in a while, one slips through. And if enough of those mutations pile up, the normal stop signals fail. Cells that should have died don't. They keep dividing. They form lumps, tumors, and eventually cancer. But here's the crucial link. Not all mutations are random. Some are fueled, accelerated, triggered by what we eat, what we drink, and how we live. Scientists now agree that diet is one of the biggest modifiable risk factors for cancer worldwide. That means the choices we make in the supermarket and the foods we place in our fridge can literally tip the scales toward health or toward disease. But why food? How can something as ordinary as what we eat carry so much power over something as deadly as cancer? The answer lies in three major mechanisms. Inflammation. Certain foods cause chronic, low-grade inflammation in the body. Inflammation may sound minor, but over time, it's like fuel for cancer cells, creating the perfect environment for them to grow. Oxidative stress. Processed foods, unhealthy fats, and excess sugars can increase free radicals, unstable molecules that damage DNA. Damaged DNA equals more mutations, which means a higher chance of cancer starting. Carcinogens in the food itself. Some foods don't just encourage cancer indirectly. They contain or generate actual cancer-causing compounds. From chemical preservatives to compounds formed during cooking, these are the real villains hiding in plain sight. And when scientists looked closely at our diets, one category of food stood out as the clearest culprit. It wasn't exotic. It wasn't rare. It was ordinary, cheap, and everywhere. That food is processed meat. Processed meats, the real fridge villain. Let's start with the food that shocked the scientific community and should have shocked the world. In 2015, the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer made a historic announcement. After reviewing over 800 studies from around the globe, experts officially classified processed meats as Group 1 carcinogens. Group 1 is the highest risk category. It's the same group that includes asbestos, tobacco, and radioactive plutonium. Think about that for a second. The bacon in your fridge, the hot dogs on the grill, the ham slices in your sandwich. They are now in the same category of cancer risk as cigarettes. So what exactly is a processed meat? It's any meat that's been preserved by smoking, curing, salting, or adding chemical preservatives. This includes bacon, sausages, ham, deli meats, salami, pepperoni, corned beef, hot dogs. Even that packet of ready-to-eat turkey slices sitting in your fridge right now. The problem isn't just the meat itself. It's what happens to it during processing. Nitrates and nitrites. These are preservatives added to keep the meat looking pink and fresh. But inside your body, they can form nitrosamines, highly carcinogenic compounds that damage DNA. Heme iron. Meat contains a type of iron called heme iron, which is more easily absorbed than the iron from plants. But when cooked at high temperatures, heme iron can trigger the formation of cancer-causing chemicals in the gut. High-temperature cooking, frying, grilling, or smoking meats produces heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Compounds also linked to cancer. Now here's the kicker. The science shows it doesn't take much. According to studies, eating just 50 grams of processed meat per day, that's about one hot dog or a couple slices of bacon, increases your risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. 50 grams. That's not a feast. That's a quick breakfast. And yet, processed meats are marketed as everyday foods. They're in children's lunch boxes. They're pushed as affordable protein sources. They're advertised as convenient, family-friendly, even healthy in some cases. But the reality? They are carcinogenic time bombs hiding in your fridge. And the story doesn't end with cancer. These same meats are linked to heart disease, diabetes, and premature death. It's a triple threat. They harm your gut, your heart, and your lifespan. So why are they still everywhere? Why are we still eating them if the science is this clear? The answer is as unsettling as the risk itself. Profit. The processed meat industry is massive, worth billions. Companies know these products are cheap to produce, addictive in taste, and easy to market. They're staples in fast food, school cafeterias, and household fridges. And while the WHO announcement in 2015 made headlines, it quickly faded from public attention. Lobbying, marketing spin, and consumer habits ensured that bacon and hot dogs stayed on the shelves and on our plates. But here's what you need to know. Every time you open your fridge and reach for those deli slices, you're gambling with your health. This isn't scare tactics. It's science. And processed meat is just the beginning. Because if you think that's the only dangerous food in your fridge, you're in for a rude awakening. Up next, the hidden additives and preservatives that lurk in foods you thought were safe. Hidden additives and preservatives. Processed meat might be the headline villain, but it's not acting alone. Because the deeper you look into your fridge, the more you realize the danger isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's hidden in the fine print of the label, disguised under chemical names you can barely pronounce. I'm talking about food additives, preservatives, artificial colors, flavor enhancers. The food industry has mastered the art of stretching shelf life, making cheap ingredients taste better, and keeping food looking fresh long past its natural expiration. But here's the catch. Many of these miracle ingredients come with a price. Take sodium nitrite, one of the most common preservatives in meats. As we saw earlier, in the body it can transform into nitrosamines, proven carcinogens, yet it's still used, still legal, and still quietly sitting in your fridge right now. Or look at potassium bromate, once common in breads and baked goods. It improves dough strength, makes bread fluffier. Sounds harmless, right? Except studies linked it to kidney and thyroid cancers in animals. It's banned in Europe, Canada, and dozens of countries worldwide. And yet, in some parts of the world, it's still legal, still used, still eaten daily. And then there's artificial food dyes, the reds, yellows, and blues that make foods more appealing. While the evidence is mixed, concerns about hyperactivity in children and potential long-term cancer risks have been raised again and again. Some dyes are banned in the EU, but remain common in the US and other markets. Even the seemingly healthy foods in your fridge aren't immune. That yogurt with the fruity swirl? Check the label. The light salad dressing? It might be packed with preservatives, stabilizers, and artificial sweeteners that change how your body processes sugar. Here's the bottom line. Your fridge may look full of safe, everyday products, but many of them are quietly delivering a cocktail of chemicals that your body was never designed to handle. And over years, decades, those exposures add up. They inflame your gut, stress your liver, disrupt your hormones, and in some cases, nudge your cells one step closer to cancer. So when we talk about danger in your fridge, we're not just talking about one villain food. We're talking about an entire system that's designed to maximize profit at the expense of your health. Sugar, obesity, and cancer risk. Let's move to another silent threat in your fridge: sugar. Not the sugar sprinkled on top of cakes. Not the candy bars hidden in the cupboard, but the sugar hiding in plain sight. In your drinks, in your sauces, in the so-called healthy snacks. That bottle of soda, that flavored iced tea, that fruit juice that claims to be 100% natural. Even your ketchup, your barbecue sauce, your salad dressings, all loaded with hidden sugars. Now, you might think sugar is just about weight gain. And yes, sugar is one of the biggest drivers of obesity worldwide. But here's where it connects directly to cancer. When you consume excess sugar, your blood glucose spikes. Your body responds by releasing insulin, a hormone that helps move sugar from your blood into your cells. But chronically high sugar intake leads to insulin resistance. Your cells stop responding properly, and your pancreas pumps out even more insulin to compensate. Here's the danger. Insulin isn't just a blood sugar regulator. It's also a growth signal. It tells cells to grow, to multiply. And if you already have cells with DNA damage, cells on the edge of becoming cancerous, insulin can act like pouring gasoline on a spark. On top of that, sugar drives chronic inflammation and contributes to obesity. And obesity itself is one of the strongest predictors of cancer risk. Fat tissue isn't just passive storage. It's metabolically active. It releases hormones like estrogen, fuels inflammation, and creates the perfect environment for tumor growth. The data is clear. Obesity increases the risk of at least 13 different cancers, including breast, colorectal, liver, kidney, and pancreatic cancer. So when you open your fridge and see sugary drinks, sweetened yogurts, flavored milks, or processed desserts, don't just think empty calories. Think potential cancer fuel. And here's the cruel twist. Sugar is addictive. Studies show it lights up the same reward centers in the brain as cocaine. That's why food companies pump it into everything. Not just sweets, but breads, sauces, soups, even so-called health bars. The more sugar you eat, the more you crave. The more you crave, the more you buy. And while your fridge looks full, your body is slowly being drained of health. Which brings us to another shocking cancer driver that often hides in plain sight. A product so normalized, so socially accepted, that most people never realize just how dangerous it really is. I'm talking about alcohol. Alcohol, the forgotten carcinogen in your fridge. Alcohol is everywhere. In our culture, it's celebration, it's relaxation, it's social bonding. A glass of wine with dinner, a cold beer on a Friday night, a bottle of champagne for special occasions. But here's the truth that the alcohol industry would rather you forget. Alcohol is a Group 1 carcinogen, the same classification as tobacco and processed meat. And yet, unlike cigarettes, it doesn't come with graphic warning labels. It doesn't carry social stigma. It's marketed with glamour, with laughter, with images of beautiful people living their best lives. So how does alcohol cause cancer? It starts with how your body metabolizes it. When you drink, alcohol breaks down into acetaldehyde, a toxic chemical that can damage DNA and proteins. If DNA is damaged and not repaired properly, mutations occur. And mutations are the first step to cancer. Alcohol also generates reactive oxygen species, free radicals that further attack DNA, proteins, and lipids in your cells. Over time, this oxidative stress creates the perfect storm for cancer development. And the science is undeniable. Alcohol increases the risk of cancers of the mouth, throat, esophagus, liver, breast, and colon. Even small amounts, just a single drink per day, can raise the risk. Yet how many people know this? How many people think of alcohol in the same category as cigarettes? Almost none, because the alcohol industry, like the tobacco industry before it, has spent decades downplaying the risks, funding biased studies, and shaping public perception. They've sold us the myth that moderate drinking is healthy, especially with red wine. But modern science tells a different story. The protective effect of alcohol has been debunked. The risks outweigh the benefits. And yet, look in your fridge. A six-pack of beer. A bottle of white wine chilling for the weekend. Maybe flavored alcoholic seltzers, marketed as light and refreshing. It's all there. Normalized. Harmless looking. But make no mistake. Alcohol is one of the forgotten carcinogens sitting quietly in your refrigerator. And when you combine it with processed meats, with sugar-laden drinks, with chemical preservatives, the effect isn't just additive. It's synergistic. Each of these factors compounds the risk of the others. Your fridge, the place you turn to for nourishment and comfort, can slowly become a weapon against your health. But the good news? Awareness is the first step to change. Because once you know the dangers, you can take back control of what goes into your body. Next, we'll expose another overlooked hazard. Not the food itself, but what happens when it's left too long. Mold, expired products, and the toxic compounds they unleash inside your fridge. Moldy and expired foods. When you think of danger in your fridge, you might picture greasy leftovers, sugary sodas, or deli meats. But sometimes, the real danger isn't obvious. It's hidden in plain sight, lurking in foods you meant to eat, but forgot. I'm talking about moldy and expired foods. We've all done it. Opened the fridge, pulled out a loaf of bread, only to see a faint patch of green fuzz on the crust, or a block of cheese with a speck of white mold. Some people toss it immediately, others scrape it off and eat the rest. After all, what's the harm? Here's the uncomfortable truth. The harm can be very real. Mold isn't just unsightly. Certain molds produce toxic compounds called mycotoxins. And among the most dangerous is aflatoxin, a natural toxin produced by Aspergillus fungi, often found on improperly stored grains, nuts, and even dairy products. Aflatoxins are some of the most potent carcinogens known to science. They attack the liver, damage DNA, and have been directly linked to liver cancer. In fact, in parts of the world where food storage conditions are poor, aflatoxin exposure is one of the leading causes of cancer deaths. Even in modern kitchens, mold exposure is more common than we think. Think about it. How often do we keep leftovers in the fridge a little too long? How often do we misjudge the expiration date? Assuming it's just a suggestion, the truth is, your fridge can become a breeding ground for toxins if food is left unchecked. And it's not just mold. Spoiled dairy products can harbor harmful bacteria. Expired meats can generate compounds that stress your liver and kidneys. Even slimy vegetables, past their prime, can contain bacteria and toxins that strain your immune system. Your fridge is supposed to protect your food. But without vigilance, it can betray you, turning yesterday's meal into today's poison. So the next time you're tempted to scrape the mold off bread or sniff test milk past its date, remember, the cost isn't just a sour taste. It could be your long-term health. But here's the good news. Just as your fridge can harbor risks, it can also become your greatest ally in cancer prevention. And that's where the power of food swaps and safer alternatives comes in. Safer alternatives and food swaps. Up until now, we've talked about the threats lurking in your fridge. But let's not forget, food can also be your shield, your defense, your medicine, because the same science that reveals the dangers also shows us the path to protection. Here's the truth. While some foods increase cancer risk, others help lower it. They fight inflammation. They neutralize free radicals. They strengthen your body's natural defenses against DNA damage. So, what does a safer, cancer-fighting fridge look like? Let's start with plant-based proteins. Instead of stocking up on processed meats, think beans, lentils, chickpeas, and tofu. These are rich in fiber, which helps sweep carcinogens out of the digestive tract. Fiber also feeds the good bacteria in your gut, the ones that help regulate inflammation and support immunity. Next, fresh fruits and vegetables. Your fridge should be bursting with color. Broccoli, kale, spinach, carrots, berries, citrus fruits, each loaded with phytochemicals that block cancer pathways. Sulforaphane in broccoli, lycopene in tomatoes, anthocyanins in blueberries. These aren't just fancy words. They're your body's natural defense system, available in every grocery store. Fermented foods are another powerful ally. Sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, and unsweetened yogurt feed your gut microbiome. And a healthy gut microbiome has been shown to strengthen your immune system, improve digestion, and even enhance your body's ability to fight precancerous changes. Then there are healthy fats. Swap processed oils for extra virgin olive oil. Replace margarine with avocado. Add walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds for omega-3s that fight inflammation at the cellular level. And don't forget hydration. Replace sodas and sweetened drinks with water, herbal teas, or sparkling water without additives. Hydration isn't just about quenching thirst. It helps your body flush out toxins and keeps every organ functioning at its best. Here's the key. You don't need a perfect diet. You just need a better fridge. Every time you swap deli meat for hummus, soda for green tea, or sugary yogurt for plain Greek yogurt with berries, you tip the scales toward health. You reduce the risk. You starve cancer cells of the fuel they crave. But here's the question. If the science is so clear, why aren't more people making these swaps? Why are dangerous foods still everywhere? In ads, in stores, in schools, and in homes? That answer lies not in the kitchen, but in the boardrooms of billion-dollar industries. The industry cover-up. Let's pull back the curtain. Because what you keep in your fridge isn't just your choice. It's the result of decades of marketing, lobbying, and corporate manipulation. Think about it. Why are cigarettes plastered with graphic warnings, but processed meats, also Group 1 carcinogens, sold without so much as a caution label? Why are sugary drinks advertised as fun, refreshing, and hydrating, when science shows they contribute to obesity, diabetes, and cancer? Why is alcohol sold as a lifestyle accessory, a symbol of sophistication, when it is a proven carcinogen? The answer: profit. The food and beverage industry is worth trillions, and their survival depends on keeping you hooked. Hooked on sugar, hooked on salt, hooked on convenience. They hire psychologists to study what flavors trigger cravings. They pump addictive ingredients into everyday foods. They lobby governments to downplay health warnings. And they fund studies designed to confuse the public, to make risks seem smaller, to buy themselves more time and more profit. We've seen this playbook before. The tobacco industry used it for decades. Deny the risks, create doubt, pay off scientists, market aggressively, delay regulation as long as possible. And today, the same tactics are alive and well in the food industry. Meanwhile, cancer rates continue to rise, families continue to suffer, and fridges around the world remain stocked with products that quietly, slowly increase the odds of disease. But here's the truth they don't want you to hear. You have the power to fight back. Every time you choose fresh over processed, water over soda, beans over bacon, You're not just making a dietary choice. You're making a statement. You're reclaiming control from an industry that profits from your sickness. And the more people wake up, the more the system will have to change. So yes, there is danger in your fridge. But there's also hope. And the choice between the two is yours to make. Lifestyle beyond the fridge. We've spent a lot of time examining the dangers that can hide inside your fridge. Processed meats, hidden additives, sugary drinks, alcohol, moldy leftovers. They all matter. But here's something equally important. Cancer risk isn't shaped by food alone. It's part of a bigger picture. A web of choices and habits that together determine whether your body becomes a fortress against disease or an open target. So let's step beyond the fridge and look at the lifestyle factors that magnify or reduce your risk. First, sleep. It might sound simple, but chronic sleep deprivation disrupts the body's natural repair systems. At night, your brain clears toxic proteins, your immune system resets, and your hormones balance. Without enough rest, inflammation rises, DNA repair falters, and the body becomes more vulnerable to cancer. Second, movement. Our ancestors didn't sit at desks for 8 hours a day. They moved constantly, walking, lifting, climbing, running. Today, many of us live sedentary lives, and studies show inactivity is directly linked to higher cancer risk, particularly for colon and breast cancer. Regular movement, even brisk walking, helps regulate hormones, improve digestion, reduce inflammation, and strengthen immunity. Third, stress. In small bursts, stress is normal. But chronic stress floods the body with cortisol and adrenaline, weakening the immune system and fueling inflammation. Over time, stress doesn't just make you feel exhausted. It can contribute to the biological environment that cancer thrives in. And fourth, environmental toxins. From the plastics that leach chemicals into your food containers, to the air pollution outside your window, to the cleaning products under your sink, daily exposures add up. Each toxin may seem small on its own, but together, they place constant pressure on your body's detox systems. This is why cancer prevention is holistic. It's not just about throwing out one dangerous food. It's about building a lifestyle where every choice nudges you toward resilience. Choosing fresh, whole foods over processed ones. Drinking water instead of soda or alcohol. Sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night. Walking, stretching, or exercising daily. Managing stress through meditation, breathing, or time in nature. Minimizing toxins where possible. You don't need perfection. You need consistency. Because cancer doesn't form overnight. It develops over years, sometimes decades. And that means every single day is a chance to shift the trajectory. To protect your DNA, to strengthen your immunity, to reduce the odds of disease. And it all starts with awareness. Awareness of what's in your fridge. Awareness of what's on your plate. Awareness of how your daily habits shape your future. Which brings us to the final message of this journey. So let's return to the question we began with. Is there danger in your fridge? Yes, without question. Processed meats, sugary drinks, alcohol, moldy leftovers, hidden additives. Each one carries a risk. And together, they can create a silent storm inside your body. But here's the part that should give you hope. You are not powerless. Right now, you have the power to open your fridge, look inside, and make choices that will echo for years to come. Choices that can protect you, your family, and generations after you. Because food isn't just calories. It isn't just taste. It is information. Every bite you take tells your body how to behave. To fight disease or fuel it. To strengthen your cells or damage them. To extend your life or shorten it. So here's your challenge. Tonight, after this video ends, open your fridge. Look inside with new eyes. Toss the processed meats. Pour out the sugary drinks. Question the expired leftovers. Reconsider the alcohol bottles. And in their place, begin to build something better. Fill your fridge with color, with freshness, with life. Vegetables, fruits, beans, whole grains, clean proteins. Foods that fight for you, not against you. This isn't about fear. It's about empowerment. Because the truth is, cancer doesn't come from a single food, a single habit, or a single choice. It comes from patterns repeated over time. And the same is true of prevention. Every healthy choice compounds. Every better swap builds momentum. Every day you choose to protect your body, you tilt the odds in your favor. The industries that profit from your sickness don't want you to hear this message. But you just did. And now, you can't unknow it. So take action, take control, and turn your fridge, once a place of hidden danger, into your most powerful weapon against cancer. Because the truth is clear, danger may be in your fridge, but so is the cure. The choice is yours.